Center. Mostly cloudy skies.
Baptist Church, Sunday morning at 10 here on WSIC.
Stay connected with WSIC. WSIC. News, talk, now.
What's going on, everyone? You're listening to the Scoreboard here on WSIC, and it's a Friday. Lots to look forward to this weekend. If you're excited to see Andy Dalton play, then I guess you can look forward to that because the Panthers will be without their starting rookie quarterback, Bryce Young. We have Charlotte FC, NASCAR at Texas, and plenty of college football and high school football to go around. But before we get started with all that, as a reminder, 704-873-1400 is the phone number if you have something on your mind that you'd like to talk about. We had football yesterday. The Giants and the 49ers. The 49ers getting the best of that game, like I said they would. I don't think there was ever any question. It was not an entertaining game by any stretch of the imagination, and the 49ers rolled over the Giants by a score of 30-12. San Francisco starting 3-0, while the Giants fall to 1-2. Daniel Jones looked pretty bad. Brock Purdy looked pretty good. And if you're a Panther fan, it's got to hurt to see Christian McCaffrey do what he's doing. He's still got it. And they traded him away. Now, granted, he didn't fit their plans at the time, and it makes sense. I get it. We want to trade him, get what we can, get some assets. But it's still, it's got to hurt a little bit to see somebody who was so good for the Panthers ball out for another team only because it's time to rebuild, not because there was an issue, not because they couldn't afford him, but only because they needed to retool the entire team. And they got quite a bit of assets for McCaffrey, but still does sting a little bit when you see him out there having a great game. So McCaffrey went 18 for 85 with a touchdown. He also caught 5 passes for 34 yards. So he was producing over 100 yards total in the game. And, the New York Giants just had no answer for the defense. They had some turnovers, and that was that. No Saquon Barkley, no Andrew Thomas. It looked like an uphill battle from the beginning. There were people that were positive and high on the New York Giants saying, hey, they showed us something there in the second half against the Cardinals. It was the Cardinals. They are openly tanking. Josh Dobbs has started their games this year. There was nothing to show. They handled their business as usual, the 49ers did, and the Giants fall to 1-2, 49ers 3-0. I predicted the 49ers going to the Super Bowl. I said that I think the Ravens are going to beat them. And man, it's looking tough for the Ravens. We got a report here from ESPN. The Ravens are, unfortunately, probably the biggest injury-stricken team in the league right now. 7 starters out for Sunday's game against the Indianapolis Colts. The good news for the Ravens is that the Colts starting quarterback, the rookie, Anthony Richardson, concussion protocol, he will not be playing this Sunday, officially ruled out. But among the players that are out for the Ravens, receiver Odell Beckham Jr., offensive tackle Ronnie Stanley, center Tyler Linderbaum, running back Justice Hill, corner Marlon Humphrey, safety Marcus Williams, and linebacker Odafe Owe. That's a lot. That's a lot of starters to be missing in one game. The only good news is they're not playing a team like the Chiefs or the Cowboys or the 49ers. You know, they still have a chance to win this game because the Colts are still a rebuilding team, but we'll see what happens with that one. Some Panthers updates for you, as I know you're looking to hear about the injury status of Bryce Young heading into Seattle this weekend. Well, it has been made official. Bryce Young not playing. He has been ruled out for Sunday's game. Andy Dalton is in line to start. Is it good? Is it bad? It's going to be a struggle this year. The goal for you fans out there is to just get through the season. And I'm hoping that the grass is greener on the other side. Now, that's not always the case, but hopefully after this season, we'll see some real positive trends here for the Panthers, because as of right now, it's not looking good for them. One of the worst teams in the NFL. Bryce Young not looking like a true number one overall pick, or not looking like he's worthy of a number one overall pick. Shout out to all those Alabama quarterbacks out there. Hey. I mean, Tua's doing good. We can talk about him being an Alabama quarterback, I guess. But anyway, Bryce Young not looking like the guy that we thought he was going to be. But it is only 2 games, and it's sad that he's going to lose some of that momentum and he's going to be out for a week. But maybe taking a step back and watching the game from the press box might help him out a little bit. Maybe. We've seen it happen before, where a player sits down for a couple of weeks, especially a rookie quarterback, and they're able to have more success as they move on. So like I said, Andy Dalton in line to start on Sunday. It's a 4 o'clock start because we are in Seattle this weekend, not at home. Don't bank on the Panthers winning or covering, for that matter, because it's going to be a long afternoon. And it's a weird schedule this week with the NFL. Week 3 is usually when the afternoon games start to kind of get a little bit like, okay, what are we doing here? Where are all the afternoon games? Only 3 afternoon games, or 3, I guess, second round of games, the 4 o'clock hour games, the 4 o'clock, 4:30 games, whatever you want to call it. All we have this week is Panthers, Saints, Cowboys, Cardinals, and Bears, Chiefs. That's a pretty sad lineup of games in the second window. I'm sorry, but man, you got no real storylines here. I mean, I guess the Bears, Chiefs is interesting only because of the fact that Justin Fields threw his coaches under the bus. I can't even say that the Panthers Seahawks is going to be interesting because Andy Dalton's going to be playing. We can't even see how the rookie quarterback's going to play. We'll touch on some of the other games going on this weekend here in the NFL on the other side of the break, but don't go anywhere. This is the Scoreboard here on WSIC 105.9, 100.7 FM. If you'd like to call in, 704-873-1400 is the number. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Still 76 years strong, and we're still the one. WSIC. News. Talk. Now.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. Stuart Owen Dance, the resident dance company of Asheville's Wortham Center for the Performing Arts, is performing at Kane Center for the Arts in Cornelius this Saturday. Want to learn more about Stuart Owen Dance before the event? Listen and watch Justin Dione, Executive Director of Kane Center for the Arts, during his show, Know the Scene, on Tuesday or on demand anytime. Just visit WSICnews.com and click on radio shows to find Know the Scene. Stuart Owen Dance, this Saturday, canearts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. The sesquicentennial celebration for the town of Huntersville is here this Saturday from 2 until 8 p.m. at Huntersville Athletic Park. Come celebrate Huntersville's 150th birthday, Saturday, September 23rd. For more info, visit huntersville.org. The All-American Dog Show is back in Cornelius, Sunday, October 1st, 2 until 5 p.m. Your furry friends are also welcome to attend. You can even enter them into the contests. Be sure to come by the WSIC tent at the All-American Dog Show happening at Robbins Park in Cornelius, Sunday, October 1st. For more info, visit cornelius.org. Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
The Renaissance Festival is back! Saturdays and Sundays, September 30th through November 19th. A non-stop outdoor family adventure! Huzzah! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
And now for a look at your weather report from the WSIC Weather Center. Mostly cloudy skies this evening with your overnight low dropping down to 58 degrees. A chance of showers mainly after midnight, 50% chance of precipitation. And on Saturday, you'll have a 40% chance of precipitation in the morning. Cloudy skies with your high near 70 degrees. This is your weather update from the WSIC Weather Center.
The Ugly Antenna is bringing back old technology to help those without a streaming provider to watch up to 50 channels absolutely free. The Ugly Antenna is not the big, unsightly outdoor antenna of the past. It's new technology that is connected to your TV inside your home. You can get your Ugly Antenna by calling 704-682-1755. The Ugly Antenna isn't really all that ugly. Call 704-682-1755 to get yours today. That's 704-682-1755 for the Ugly Antenna.
Be a part of the conversation.
I listen on the way to work.
Have your say.
It's more than just opinions, it's facts.
This is WSIC News Talk Now.
All right, we are back here on the scoreboard. 105.9, 100.7 FM. Call into the show, 704-873-1400. You know the drill. Anything you'd like to talk about, football, baseball, I don't care, hockey, soccer, polo, rugby, I don't know, Formula One. Speaking of Formula One, I do want to point this out. If anybody watches Formula One, last weekend they were in Singapore, and Red Bull and Max Verstappen have won 10 races in a row. The team of Red Bull winning every single race of the season so far. And for the first time, they did not win. Ferrari and Carlos Sainz got the win. So I just thought that was cool. 10 races in a row you win. That was a record in Formula One. It's not even a competition this year. And finally, they got a new winner. And Formula One, Sunday morning, 1 a.m., if you're interested. I know, 1 a.m., what a weird time, but they're in Japan this year. Kind of like weird when the Women's World Cup was going on, and Team USA was playing at 3 in the morning. Kind of reminds me of that. But anyway, if you're interested in Formula One, some people are, some people aren't. It has to do with whether or not you watch that Netflix series for the most part. But I got some breaking news here out of the MLB. I don't know if I've really touched on this too much, but the players in baseball do not want the same pitch clock rules to apply in the playoffs. They want a little bit extra time, which I guess I can understand that a little bit, but MLB has decided not to do that. They're going to stick with the current rules, which makes sense because the game has changed. Scoring's up, steals are up, games are shorter. I don't have a problem with them keeping the rules the same. The update, though, this coming a couple of minutes ago here from ESPN, Major League Baseball to use neutral pitch clock operators for postseason games. So normally every MLB team has somebody who operates the clock, the pitch clock, who's affiliated with the team. Well, for the playoffs, they are going to change that up a little bit. These pitch clock operators will be unaffiliated, completely neutral, which will probably help a little bit. And I hope that takes away some of the players' concerns over the pitch clock, because there is statistics to back up the thought process of some stadiums, namely Philadelphia, having a quick trigger on that pitch clock and it going a little bit fast. So hopefully neutral pitch clock operators gets rid of any issues that there might have been. So that's your breaking news out of the MLB. We are going to touch on the playoff race going on. Lots of things to break down there. But before we do that, I got to get you prepared for your weekend slate of NFL football. I'm going to touch on some of the important games here. I don't want to go through every game. It's just not worth it. So we're going to look at the NFC South. Why not? We have the Falcons playing the Lions. That a 1 o'clock game. Falcons 2-0, Lions 1-1. We also have the Saints playing the Packers. That at 1 o'clock. Saints also 2-0, Packers 1-1. And then you have on Monday night the Buccaneers at home against the Eagles. I would not be surprised if the Saints start the year 3-0. I don't expect for the Falcons to beat the Lions. That defense is really good. I just think that the offense on Detroit should be able to put up more points, obviously, than their opposition. But not only that, I just think that they're a better all-around team. The Saints, like I said, I don't expect them to lose to Green Bay, but also at the same time, they very well could. Because Green Bay is not a terrible team this year. Jordan Love's first year as a starting quarterback, he looks decent. I mean, there's really no complaints right now on Jordan Love. The Saints, they have a really good defense. The offense can be hit or miss. When they played the Panthers last weekend on Monday Night Football, it was really a matter of stalemate. Oh, my goodness, the Saints hit a 50-yard play. Stalemate, all the way through. Field goals galore. No touchdowns until halfway through the third quarter. So that defense for the Saints needs to step up. And the offense, well, for the Panthers' sake, the offense does not need to get it together. But at this point in the season, with the injury news to Bryce Young, not winning one of the first 2 games of the year, I'm going to pretty much count the Panthers out at this point, because I fully expect them to start the year 0-3, and I fully expect them to go into the Week 7 bye without a victory on the year. When they come out of that bye week, though, that's when we'll get to some more winnable games. So we'll worry about that when we get there. But for now, we just got to kind of hope, if you're still thinking that the Panthers have a chance to make the playoffs, because it is still early. 0-2 teams can make the playoffs. It's happened plenty of times, about 25% of the time. But if you're really hoping for the Panthers to go on some kind of run where they challenge for the division, you're really going to have to pull for the Falcons, Saints, and Buccaneers all losing this weekend, because going down 3 games, like I said, Panthers are going to start 0-3. I just can't see a world where they beat the Seahawks. I can't. The Seahawks got it together last week. They beat the Lions, and they looked good doing it. But I can't see the Panthers with Andy Dalton as the quarterback, Shaq Thompson out now for the season. I don't think they're going to go in there and win. So we got to hope that the rest of the division falls so the Panthers can stay within relative striking distance. And it's not out of the question. Like I said, this whole division in preseason was expected to hover around 500. Some analysts had the Panthers winning this division. I don't know what they were seeing. I said they could compete. I never said they were going to win the division. But if they want a chance, if they want to stay in the game, they absolutely have to hope that the division loses this week, because I can't see them winning. Some other games going on, not as important, just some interesting storylines. You have the Bills and the Commanders. Commanders starting 2-0. The Bills 1-1. Patriots Jets should be a good one. Titans Browns. Titans, a team that are kind of trying to cling on to every last bit of the past regime that they can, with the Tannehill and Derrick Henry and what used to be a great receiving core. They're on the downhill turn, though. They're looking to stay relevant. The Browns, after just a terrible performance last Monday night, looking to get back over 500. They're going to have some more problems, the Browns. Now, they signed Kareem Hunt, former running back. They brought him back after the Nick Chubb injury, which we won't really touch on too much. Hopefully Chubb is able to recover. And before we worry about him getting back to football form, let's just hope that he's able to have full mobility of that knee. Now, remember, his knee that he just destroyed was already surgically repaired. A second time, with how brutal that injury looked, I'm really just hoping that he can, have a good quality of life after that, because it was really just a disgusting injury. You don't want to go look that one up. But that's where the NFL sits right now. Monday night games this week: Eagles, Bucks, as I mentioned, Rams, Bengals. The Bengals have a weird situation too. We don't know whether or not Joe Burrow is going to be playing. He's got a calf strain. It sounds like he's more than likely out. And it's significant because I'm going to put this game here against the Rams as a must-win for the Bengals. The Bengals are 0-2, Baltimore 2-0, Pittsburgh and Cleveland both 1-1 so far. So the division stacks up with everyone everywhere. But the AFC, with how good the teams in the AFC are this year, they're really going to have to hope that they can win this one without Joe Burrow and get a win on the board. Hopefully when Burrow comes back, he returns to form and that offense will actually start clicking. That offense has looked terrible to start the year. We thought it was a week one fluke where it's like, it's a week one. Everybody kind of looks weird in week one. No, continued in week two. And towards the end of the game, they started to put some offense together, but it wasn't meant to be. Coming up on a break here, when we return, I want to touch on NASCAR because, as you know, we have Texas this weekend. Not the most fan-friendly, fan-favorite track there is, but a playoff race nonetheless. And then we're also going to touch on college football, if we have time for all this, college football, high school football, and baseball. You're listening to The Scoreboard here on WSIC 105.9, 100.7 FM, 704-873-1400 if you'd like to call in. Don't go anywhere, because when we return, we got a lot to talk about. Like I said, college football, high school football, baseball playoffs, everything you could want in the sports world is going on right now, except for hockey, which is coming soon. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this.
Breaking news, expert analysis, and the stories that matter most, all in one place.
I totally acknowledge seeing flames is a scary situation.
WSIC News Talk Now.
And Now for a look at your weather report from the WSIC Weather Center. Mostly cloudy skies this evening with your overnight low dropping down to 58 degrees. A chance of showers mainly after midnight, 50% chance of precipitation. And on Saturday, you'll have a 40% chance of precipitation in the morning. Cloudy skies with your high near 70 degrees. This is your weather update from the WSIC Weather Center.
Hello, friends. This is Dwight with Gullion's Christian Supply and Homeschool Headquarters, inviting you to join the Gullion family and staff in praising the Lord for 30 years of providing you with trustworthy and inspiring books, Bibles, music, gifts, and supplies. We so appreciate your support and friendship over all these years. With locations in King and Statesville, North Carolina, visit us again soon for encouraging fellowship and essential provisions for your Christian life. Gullion's Christian Supply and Homeschool Headquarters, where the Bible stands.
In life, we plan for many important things. Weddings, our children's education, retirement. A celebration of life is really no different. Planning and paying for your life celebration in advance will give you and your family valuable peace of mind. We'll help you take care of every detail with professionalism and compassion. We're Lynn Honeycutt Funeral Home. Find us at DignityMemorial.com.
Attention! This is a public notice from the Social Security Disability Helpline. If you're one of the millions of Americans who are disabled and unable to work, you may be eligible for disability benefits from Social Security. Receiving benefits is your right. If you suffer from physical or mental disability, whether you're applying for the first time or you've already been denied, we can help. We'll evaluate your situation and deal with Social Security on your behalf. Best of all, there's no fee until you receive your benefits. Remember, we only get paid if you win your case. There are many reasons and conditions that may make you eligible for disability benefits. Many of them you may not be aware of. So if you're disabled and unable to work, call now to get started with your free, no-obligation consultation.
800-556-2974. 800-556-2974.
Across America.
Espionage charges are absolutely ridiculous.
And closer to home.
Our border's under siege. Inflation's at a near 40-year high. Gas prices are through the roof. Crime is skyrocketing in our major cities. Our national debt is piling up like a mountain range.
What matters to you?
We do not need to have our commander-in-chief not protecting our nation's secrets.
This is WSIC. News Talk Now.
The Panthers look to bounce back from an 0-2 start with their furthest road trip of the season as they play at Seattle on Sunday. I'm Jim Zoki with a Panthers update after this.
Great play. Let's roll back the replay. Panthers mascot Sir Purr is on the Bank of America app.
He can't keep his paws off that phone.
Bank of America's digital tools are so impressive, Carolina Panthers fans just can't stop banking. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/can'tstopbanking.
You must download the latest version of the mobile banking app, only available on select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. Terms and conditions apply. Member FDIC.
The Panthers look to get back on track as they visit the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday. Carolina with an 0-2 record, while Seattle is 1-1 following an overtime victory over Detroit last weekend. Seattle, of course, is known for the 12th man, referring to the crowd noise generated at Lumen Field. And Panthers veteran wide receiver Adam Thielen says that reputation is well earned.
It's the toughest environment I played in, especially when that team starts rolling and that defense is playing at a high level. It's rocking, and it's you can't communicate. It doesn't matter how you practice. It just comes down to just kind of trusting your preparation, trusting what you put in during the week and in the past OTAs, training camp, to just go out there and play football.
Carolina's passing game is ranked last in the league here in the early season stats. Meanwhile, the Seahawks are led by veteran quarterback Geno Smith, who's off to another good start with 3 touchdown passes and no interceptions. Veteran wide receivers Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf are his targets, along with rookie Jackson Smith and Jigba. And Panthers safety Xavier Woods knows that's an excellent group.
They have 2 great receivers, and with the rookie coming in too, he's a good receiver too, the one we've been seeing. But I played them a couple times, and we got to step up to the challenge. Challenge those guys. Those guys are some of the best receivers in the league, so we're up for the challenge.
I'm Jim Zoki on the Carolina Panthers Radio Network, presented by Morris Jenkins.
Conversations that matter.
I gotta
tell you, I'm afraid to even think about the next presidential election.
Led by you.
It's a mockery of American politics.
This is WSIC News Talk Now.
All right, we are back. Scoreboard on WSIC 105.9, 100.7 FM, talking about sports, football, baseball, whatever you want to talk about. We do have a caller on the line, so let's go ahead and bring them in. Hello, caller. Thank you for calling in. What do you got for me? Uh-oh. Hello, caller. Are you there? Well, darn. Well, if you want to call back, 704-873-1400. That is the phone number. We're here. I'll be here until about 7 o'clock today. And then you have high school football tonight, right after the show. How about that? So if you're in the area looking for some high school football to watch tonight, let's go through some of the local schools and talk about who they are going to be matching up with. Tonight we have 4-0 West Iredell taking on 0-4 Ford. That is a conference game. West Iredell looking to remain undefeated on the year. Another team who is undefeated to start the year is Lake Norman. The Wildcats take on A.L. Brown, who sits at 2-2. That game takes place at 7 o'clock. So immediately following the scoreboard, they will be kicking off. Couple of other games here as South Iredell is off this weekend. North Iredell, 2-2, takes on St. Stephen's, sitting at 0-4. And Statesville High School has East Lincoln tonight. That game at 7:30. East Lincoln 3-1. Statesville currently 2-2. And all these games, all these high school football games are now conference games. And we've been talking about how important those conference games are as you get later into the season, looking at seeding for the playoffs and trying to get through state playoffs. So support your local high schools, support your former high schools, all that fun stuff, and go watch some high school football. We will be here Monday to talk about all the results, any standout performances that we see, just to give a little shout out to the local community. So if you know anybody on Monday who had a stellar performance, because as a reminder, I'm only one person, give me a call, 704-873-1400. Give them a shout out. We'll find their stats and their school and make sure we honor them properly. We're done talking about the NFL. We talked about it through the first two segments. We talked about Bryce Young and how he's going to be out for this week. Maybe next week is the initial reporting, but we don't know yet. We talked about some of the games coming up, the NFC South and how their schedules look, and the Panthers' playoff chances officially being 0, even though that's not technically and it's not mathematically correct. I just don't think they're going to make it. So let's head to a sport where the playoffs are right around the corner. Only about 10 games left in the season for most of these teams. Less than 10 for others. Your Atlanta Braves have 98 wins. They are 2 away from 100. The only other two teams, well, there's 3 other teams that might break that 100-win threshold. That being the Baltimore Orioles, Tampa Bay Rays, and the LA Dodgers. Those are the only teams that have a chance to break that 100-win mark. Currently, in the wild card, we have a huge series beginning to take place. And I mean huge series. The Seattle Mariners begin a 3-game set against the Texas Rangers. And then they have a 3-game set against the Astros, followed by the final set of games against the Rangers again. This series very well could decide not only who wins that division, but who moves on in the wild card, because I don't think it's going to be tied on the last day of the season. I just don't. With all the inter-division games going on there, I don't see it. So, as a reminder, Houston leads by a half game over Seattle and Texas. Seattle plays Texas. Houston's going to be facing Kansas City here for their next series. But after that Kansas City series, they do have to face the Mariners. So that very well could become a situation where we see a flip-flop on the top of the division. Looks like October 1st is the last day of scheduled games. So we're right there. We are up against the end of the season. If you have a team, if you have a favorite team, it's time to support them. Because I'll tell you what, you're not going to hear a lot of baseball talk here in the future, in the next couple of weeks, because we are now in rhythm with the NFL. Everything is full swing now. After this week in the NFL, we are going to go back to our normally scheduled list of games where you only have the one Monday night game. And speaking of that one Monday night game next week, who in their right mind thought it was a good idea to give the New York Giants back-to-back primetime games? Who is the schedule maker? What were you thinking? The Giants are an awful team. Back-to-back primetime. They've had this will be week 4. The New York Giants, who are bad, will have played 3 primetime games. What? Why can't you give that to the Chiefs or the 49ers or the Cowboys or somebody entertaining? The Giants are not entertaining. It's entertaining to see the train wreck that they are, but it's just not entertaining. It's terrible football. End of rant. I said we were done talking about the NFL. We're done talking about the NFL. Back to the MLB and the standings here and how things shake out before the weekend games. Cincinnati, the scoreboard bandwagon team, still sitting one game out of the playoffs. They are taking on Pittsburgh Pirates right now. The Pittsburgh Pirates not going to be making the playoffs. They are very much out of contention. They're only 7.5 games back and not technically eliminated, but they're out. The big thing to watch right now are these San Diego Padres. 8-2 in their last 10, 7 wins in a row. All of a sudden, they find themselves 4.5 games out of that final wild card spot. If they stay hot, I'm not going to put it out of the question that they don't make things interesting, because they are right there. Other things that are going to be something to take a look at as we get towards the end of the year. Obviously, we spoke about the AL West and those 3 teams going for the division win. But the AL East, Baltimore with a 1.5 series, a 1.5 lead on that division. The wild card in the American League is pretty much over with. You do have the Toronto, Seattle, Texas debacle that's going to have to be settled, but those are the only ones that are going to be wild card teams. Maybe if Houston falls out of the lead of the AL West, they could become a wild card contender. But the Yankees and the Red Sox, although they haven't been eliminated yet, they are done for. Just too far out to really strike here. Man, it's been a quick show today. We're already heading to our final segment. Thanks for sticking around with me today. It's a Friday. Let's see. When we get back, we'll try and talk about some Charlotte FC. We'll talk a little more baseball, some NASCAR. We haven't even gotten into NASCAR yet. Man, stay tuned here on the Scoreboard, listening on WSIC. We'll be right back.
Have your say.
Trusting the government to fix anything is a joke.
Be a part of the conversation.
We can't even
This is WSIC News Talk Now.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. Stuart Owen Dance, the resident dance company of Asheville's Wortham Center for the Performing Arts, is performing at Kane Center for the Arts in Cornelius this Saturday. Want to learn more about Stuart Owen Dance before the event? Listen and watch Justin Dione, Executive Director of Kane Center for the Arts, during his show, Know the Scene, on Tuesday or on demand anytime. Just visit WSICnews.com and click on radio shows to find Know the Scene. Stuart Owen Dance, this Saturday, kanearts.org. That's CAIN arts.org. The sesquicentennial celebration for the town of Huntersville is here this Saturday from 2 until 8 p.m. at Huntersville Athletic Park. Come celebrate Huntersville's 150th birthday, Saturday, September 23rd. For more info, visit huntersville.org. The All-American Dog Show is back in Cornelius, Sunday, October 1st, 2 until 5 p.m. Your furry friends are also welcome to attend. You can even enter them into the contests. Be sure to come by the WSIC tent at the All-American Dog Show happening at Robbins Park in Cornelius, Sunday, October 1st. For more info, visit cornelius.org. Have an event you'd like to tell people about? Yard sales, estate sales, and everything in between? Visit WSICnews.com and click on events to submit your event today.
The Renaissance Festival is back! Saturdays and Sundays, September 30th through November 19th. A non-stop outdoor family adventure. Huzzah! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
And now for a look at your weather report from the WSIC Weather Center. Mostly cloudy skies this evening with your overnight low dropping down to 58 degrees. A chance of showers mainly after midnight, 50% chance of precipitation. And on Saturday, you'll have a 40% chance of precipitation in the morning. Cloudy skies with your high near 70 degrees. This is your weather update from the WSIC Weather Center.
It's back, and it's better than ever with WSIC Community Yard Sale. Sell your stuff October 28th as we bring back the legendary Community Yard Sale. Visit WSICnews.com/yard sale. Get your spot today. Be a part of the conversation.
We can't fix America's debt by starving its people.
Have your say.
One shooting after another, and we're doing nothing to solve it?
This is WSIC News Talk Now. Whatever the story,
We have to end our dependence on China.
have your say.
This debt crisis is going to set our economy back big time.
This is WSIC News Talk Now.
Final segment here this week on the Scoreboard. Final segment of all the local shows here on WSIC this week. Thank you for rocking with us as you always do. 704-873-1400 is the phone number. Final chance to get your thoughts out there before we go into the weekend, before we go into this slate of NFL games, of MLS games, MLB, whatever sport you like. Hockey's around the corner, basketball's around the corner. Everybody knows if you're a sports fan, the fall is the best time of the year because you have every sport going on. You have football starting, baseball ending, hockey and basketball about to start, NASCAR's at the end of the year, the MLS is at the end of the year, high school football going on, everything, college football. I mean, what else could you want, honestly? Speaking of college football, we have not touched on this nearly enough this week. That's on me, Coach. I will take the blame on that. Did you happen to see Deion Sanders talking about the transfer portal and how he feels bad for high school students? Now, I don't have that audio clip, but basically what it boils down to is Deion Sanders was saying that he feels bad for high school football players because they're really not recruiting high school players anymore. because of the transfer portal, they're recruiting other college players. And Dion said, I think he said he had 4 high school football players coming in next year. 4. Times are changing. And not only that, but we have other things going on. Michigan, number 2 seed in the country. Yet another layup as they take on Rutgers. Now, it's really crazy to me that that you can have a team with that high of a standing and you can play somebody like Rutgers. Now, Urban Meyer had something to say about this a few days ago. He said that it's absolutely unacceptable that teams high up in the standings are able to schedule Rutgers. And I mean, there's other examples of this where teams that you know are going to be good teams just schedule bad teams. And I get it, Michigan, Rutgers, same division, whatever, same conference, however you want to spell it out. I don't care. It's just bad scheduling. Now, we're getting into the time in college football where there's some better games being scheduled, some conference games being scheduled, all that fun stuff. So some of the good ones going on this weekend. Number 19, Colorado at number 10, Oregon. You have number 22, UCLA at number 11, Utah. Probably the biggest and most impactful game of this weekend is going to be number 15, Ole Miss against number 13, Alabama. Yes, you heard me correct. It's week 4, and Alabama is ranked 13th. Tough. Very tough. You also have Oregon State, Washington State. That's a 14 and a 21. And then on Saturday night, the one that tops it all off, 7:30 on NBC, number 6 Ohio State taking on number 9 Notre Dame. Huge playoff implications on that one. They're on the outside looking in right now. So whoever loses this game is probably going to have a real uphill battle to make the playoffs. And I don't even know if there would be a path for them if they lose this game. Either team, Ohio State, Notre Dame, whoever it is. North Carolina, number 17, they'll be taking on Pittsburgh. And the last matchup of your ranked teams, we have Iowa, number 24, taking on number 7, Penn State. Number 1, Georgia plays UAB. There you go, right there. I mean, Georgia scheduling UAB. Okay. Whatever, I guess. Hopefully when we get to expanded playoffs and a different system, there's reports of relegation between the Mountain West and the Pac-2. I was going to say Pac-12, but I think it's down to the Pac-2. There's been talks about a relegation system, and one of them would get the bid. I still want to know how this is going to work next year when the Pac-12 is supposed to have an automatic bid for the conference winner. So there's a lot to sort out in college football, and I'm sure we'll get there. But it's going to be a fun ride. And I'll tell you what, in a few years when we look back at it, when we look back and we say, oh my goodness, what were these NIL deals? What was all this transfer and portal and schools changing conferences? We're going to look back at this as a time period of wild, wild west stuff, because like I've talked about before, the NCAA has gotten Congress in this thing to try. They're like, here, help us. We can't figure it out. We butchered this, and we need your help. That's how college football looks. Moving on to NASCAR. Texas Motor Speedway, first race of the round of 12. The way we stack up in the standings is as followed. You have Ross Chastain, Brad Keselowski, Ryan Blaney, and Bubba Wallace. All are your drivers on the outside looking in. William Byron, Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, and Chris Buescher, top 5 right now. Doesn't really matter if you're top 5 or not. You got to survive these 3 races. And like I've been saying, Texas has extra emphasis for a lot of these drivers because coming up behind it, Talladega, which will make or break your playoffs, and then the Roval, which we have seen cars unable to drive right up against the wall, hitting everything on their way to the start-finish line just to gain 1 point to move on to the next round. We've seen it. We saw it the very first year. I believe it was the very first year we were at the Charlotte Roval. Kyle Larson wrecked his car in the Tums Heartburn turn, couldn't turn the thing to the left. He could turn right. And you just see him wall riding the oval 3 and 4 corners, and there's a stalled car right before the start-finish line. He somehow makes it past him. We all remember that story. That was a great one. That was real funny. But anyway, Texas this weekend should be an interesting one. There's been some good playoff Texas races. It's just that Texas, it doesn't have much excitement anymore. Probably the most exciting Texas race of recent memory that I can think about. Jeff Gordon, Brad Keselowski, Kevin Harvick, all of them getting into fisticuffs after the race because Brad Keselowski jumped into a hole and ended up cutting Jeff Gordon's tire. That being the year that Gordon was on his last leg, he had his little resurgence, like his end of career. I'm going to win a few races and try and get this 5th championship. Couldn't do it, mainly because of that race. So we've seen Texas can get wild, but we'll see what happens this weekend. Qualifying not until tomorrow, so I can't help you out with the starting lineup, unfortunately. But I would expect Christopher Bell to continue to be a viable option for the pole. I mean, he hasn't shown us any reason why not. He's got the pole for every single race in the playoffs so far. Final thing we'll touch on before we go to break, Charlotte FC taking on the Eastern Conference leaders Cincinnati on Saturday. That game at 7:30. Tough game. Would have been really great to get those 3 points from Philadelphia on Wednesday, but nonetheless, they couldn't, and here we are with Charlotte FC still sitting 3 points out of the playoffs. Uphill battle, though, as they will have to take on the top team. Not only are they the top team in the East, but they are the top team in MLS as a whole. That's pretty much the end of the day. We're at the weekend. Fun all around. We have, like I said, football, baseball, high school football, college football, NASCAR. Everything's going on this weekend. So if you need your sports fill, you will have something to watch, to listen to. You could always listen to the Panthers and Charlotte FC right here on WSIC on Saturday and Sunday. So set your calendars for that. But that's all the time that we have for today. Thank you, as always, for tuning in throughout the week as we try to make sense of an always changing sports landscape. You've been listening to the Scoreboard here on WSIC with me, your host, Joe Berg. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll be back on Monday, same time, same place. See ya.